Hello everybody, this is David Blair, the Crosshairs Trader. Today I want to go over the railroads. These are some stocks that I've been watching, us Crosshairs Traders have been watching as well for a possible trade. But first of all, when we look at potential trades, we always consider where the general market is and what's going on in the futures in particular. Right here I have the S&P futures, I have the weekly chart and the daily chart. And if you'll notice, right now we've obviously had a strong move up, but that is history. Right now looks like we're struggling right at some resistance that's from May, and now we're struggling at the same price point. If we can consolidate some in here and head higher, then we can go up to some resistance that we find on the weekly chart at our major moving average. That's what the dotted lines are here. And we got some price resistance as well back to our highs from the April-May area. I bring this up simply because when we look at stocks to trade, we want to see if the general market's going to be able to help carry these trades. What I mean by that is about, I don't know the exact statistic, but a high percentage, let's say 90% of the stocks that you're going to trade are going to trade with the market. In other words, their chart is pretty much going to look like the chart that we're looking at right now. Most of the stocks that we trade have had a bullish move since the low in September. Before that, they had some down. Before that, they had some up. Most of the stocks that we've been watching have been in a consolidation mode. If they haven't, they've been trending up or trending down, and they've been moving back and forth depending upon where the general market is going. I say all that again because when we look at the railroad stocks, that's a consideration before we trade them. Is where is the general market, and is there enough strength in the general market to carry the stocks we're looking at further. So let's take a look at some of these railroads that we've been watching. And again, let me get my split screen up. Let's take a look at Norfolk Southern. You can see that Norfolk Southern is at a resistance area, and the resistance on the daily chart is from the weekly chart, but we're watching to see if maybe NSC can break out of that range there. If NSC can break out of that range, then we have the opportunity for this to go considerably higher. Again, we'll be watching it. Norfolk Southern has its earnings on the 27th of October, so we can watch that up into their earnings date. KSU. KSU also has some resistance on the weekly chart that we're watching. It's just an area in here, right around the 41 area, 40 to 41 area, that we're watching as resistance on KSU. All of these stocks are basically going to look alike. Some are going to have a crosshair, others are not. But again, we've got some resistance area that we're watching. KSU has earnings on the 26th of October, a day before NSC. So this could be easily traded up after it breaks out of this area up into earnings. And UNP's done something a little bit different, and then we're going to talk about CSX. UNP has actually broken out of a consolidation area, much like the general market did. It's the strongest of the railroads right now. But what we're watching, even with UNP, is the weekly chart. Take a look. Major resistance area here. After this strong move up, I'd really like to see it consolidate and then head higher. UNP will release their earnings on the 21st of October, a little bit earlier than NSC and KSU. And the reason I bring up earnings is because CSX reports earnings after the close today. CSX, same way. We've had a crosshair on the weekly, way back, pulled back some, but we've got this area that it's trying to break out of right here. We'll see if it can hold this week, and then it's got a considerable distance to run before the next resistance up at around 70. But I think what we need to do is watch CSX, see how the market responds to their earnings report after the close today and into tomorrow. If it doesn't sell off hard, if it stays in here or starts moving higher, then CSX is going to be a wonderful opportunity to trade. But the other thing to consider is because NSC, KSU, and UNP has not had earnings, we can watch them for possibly better trades up into their earnings reports if indeed the market decides that the rails are a place to put some money. One last thing I want to look at and that we will consider is the IYT, which is your iShares Dow Jones Transport Average Fund, ETF. The reason I bring this up is because of the top 10 holdings of the IYT, UNP is number 2, NSC is number 5, CSX is number 6, and KSU is number 10. So there's a significant exposure to the railroads in the IYT. Why am I looking at this? Because we've got some possible resistance here too. If the report is okay today, the market likes the rails, then we could shoot considerably higher. If you don't want to trade any of the individual railroad stocks, you could trade the IYT. But again, before we consider putting in a full position, we either wait or trade very lightly to find out what's going on with CSX, and we certainly do not trade CSX into earnings. That's not a high probability setup for us crosshairs traders. If you've got any questions, any comments, would like to inquire about my premium services, please contact me at david@crosshairstrader.com. Sign up for my blog post. You can get those free by signing up via Twitter, email, or RSS feed on my site. Until then, have a wonderful day both in and outside the charts. Thank you.